yourself?
I'm Britt Howell with BF50 Indigenous Health Initiative out of Southeast Minneapolis. I am the garden lead for Minneapolis Park and Recreation Board there. It's a community garden, but it's very unique green space. And I'm also the Vice President of Prospect Park Association, which is also in that area. And my new hat that I wear is Minnesota Farmers Market Association Farmers Profitability Coach.
All right. So for people that don't quite understand, what do you think urban agriculture really means to you?
So for me, I grew up in a rural town, unincorporated, in West Virginia. I was raised predominantly in the DMV, which is DC, Maryland, and Virginia, but I spent all my school years in West Virginia. And I say to people all the time, rarely did you meet or know anyone who didn't farm. I mean, we farmed. I grew up this way. I grew up eating food, as I always say, from the dirt. And what I don't think people realize, if you think about back in 2020, when folks were scrounging for eggs and food in the grocery stores, where folks were still farming because it was safe, you put your mask on, right? So we were still producing food. So if you're growing your own food, I always say, rarely will you run out of food. And what I think people don't realize is that's what agriculture is all about, growing your own food. And if we can get more people involved, starting with school ages, from kindergarten up, my initiative works really closely with nonprofit organizations, charter schools, and one of the things I keep saying that if we could just get every school to have a small garden on their lot and let it be a curriculum class that starting, and I always say, maybe around third grade, maybe 8, 9 years old, starting with that group, because I know for me personally, I learned a lot of my life lessons from home economics, right? And think of it like that. If we had young people growing food early on, what they're going to do is they're going to tell their parents, they're going to tell their siblings, and they're going to get people involved in urban agriculture. It starts right there. And I think that's an initiative that I would like to see push forward. I would like to see every school in these local towns and counties have agriculture at their schools.
Absolutely. And what do you think that could mean to have kids touching the vegetables and the fruit, and what does that mean for their growth and their health?
Everything. I never forget, my mom placed my little garden area in a specific spot. Well, let's just start by saying I am the baby of 8 children. My parents were born in 1919, in 1825. True story. So I'm the baby. I came along later in life. My siblings, some of them are old enough to be my parents. And so she had my little tomato. The first plant I ever grew was a tomato plant. And I never forget, I thought it was pacifying because I planted and nothing happened. I said, this is not real because nothing is happening, nothing is growing. They're just messing with me. You know the baby of family thinks, right? I came home from school one day and I saw my first tomato. I threw my book back down. I ran in the house. I was like, Mommy. I was so excited. And this is what happened. When I'm working with students now, I see me and them. I see their smile. At one point, I was the urban farm director for Little Earth of United Tribes, and I invited lots of volunteer groups. We even had a senior high school, I think it was South High. Cheerleaders, they came over. They helped me plant. We had 2 organizations, 2 groups right there, youth at Little Earth who helped plant the garden. And you can see the vibrancy. When people use their own hands, they touch the soil, they plant the seed. And in some cases, we had them to plant seedlings because it was just easier and for that time of the year. But to see it grow, and what I loved is they documented all of it. It's documented in some, like a newsletter at their, on their land. And what I love so much about that is you get to see that. You get to see when that plant was this small to growing profusely all over the place. And there's a happy feeling when all of a sudden you reap the benefits of that growth and you get to go taste that food. You get to take those tomatoes and put them in a salad. You get to eat that fruit that you grew. I just think it's for children to see that, and they would say, "Can I eat the strawberry?" We're like, "Yep," and just wipe it off, go for it. And I think it's just something special, because that means they saw something grow from nothing to something beautiful and something they can actually taste and feel and touch.
Absolutely. So what are the things that help, like, what things do you need in your own organizations, or what resources do you offer to other people that help them be successful?
Well, one of the resources that we offer as a whole, BF50 Indigenous Health Initiative, we do something we call agri-cultural events. And so we have, we host events all around town. We have a really popular National Night Out event every National Night Out. And I've also curated Open Streets Minneapolis for many years, since 2015. One of the things that we always offer is opportunity. When I'm hosting an event, I try my best to have folks from Department of Agriculture, folks from Minneapolis Park and Recreation, Department of Natural Resources. I try to have these organizations present to tell their own story, and for them to introduce sustainability and greener living, agriculture, to the audience that we have invited. And so that's something that we push hard. We work closely with University of Minnesota as well, Extension. We have University of Minnesota Extension educators. We have master gardeners to come out to our community garden and train and teach our gardeners how to grow better food. If there's something happening, like one year we had all the tomatoes were getting rot. And we're like, we just couldn't figure it out. Well, call a master gardener, see if they have time. And so those are the things we try to do, and we improve each year. BF50 has hosted James Beard Award winner. Yeah, Jim Embry, we've hosted him twice. We're going to be hosting him again here coming up around Juneteenth. He does something called, it's a journey in June. He does this every year. We have folks like that to come to our space, talk to them. He did a seed convening. We do seed exchanges. We try to make sure that we're out there putting out the work, making sure the community members understand we have these resources here for you. We want you to use them. And another thing that we do is we're forever reaching out. I think this is February? I'm on my third conference in 2025. That's another thing. We did the Emerging Farmers Conference, we did the Organic Conference, and we're here today with you all with the Urban Ag, because we're learning all the time. So that's what we do. We come so we can gather resources so we can share those with our community members.
And what would you say would be some of those barriers? Like, why do people feel they aren't connected to some of those resources? What can be improved?
So many barriers. What can be improved today? Today, let me tell you what I noticed today. We had a panel, the first panel. There was not one person of color, right? And that's an assumption that there's not people of color don't know policy. I was sitting at the table with two policymakers. I was literally sitting at the table with policymakers who were people of color. Friendly Mung, Patrice Bailey, Assistant Commissioner. So I just think we have to do better in making sure that we're not saying, okay, we're talking policy, so that's not a space for Black and brown people. It is a space for Black and brown people. And let me tell you, if you mix it up a little bit, those folks see people that look like them, they're more adhere to listening and taking it in and feeling like, oh, I'm a part of this. This is meant for me as well, right? So it's just little things like that that we don't think about. And given the climate where we are right now, it's kind of hard to do some of that work, because you have to be careful that you're not DEI, and you have to be careful that, all these different things that we have to walk around. You can do that without saying that. You don't have to say those words. You can just invite the people to be in the space to have this conversation. Now, this next panel that's talking right now is predominantly people of color, but they're not speaking about policy, right? So my point is, we can do better at, Dr. Maya Angelou, I live by these words, says, when you know better, you do better. I think we could do better in knowing better. So that's what I think we can do to actually just, let's mix it up a little bit. Make sure we're inviting everybody to the table and in these spaces so that they can be heard and seen, and so that the folks who are coming can receive that information.
Absolutely. And so what do you feel are even some of those questions that people should be asking that they aren't asking enough of?
You know, I can say this, right? I love the questions today. I think people are starting to realize, my mother used to say, a closed mouth don't get fed. So I think people are learning, you have to open your mouth if you want to be fed the information. If you want to be fed some of those federal dollars that are out there, you've got to speak up. You have to put yourself in a space that says, this is something that I need. This is something that would help me grow my farm. Why am I sitting back as if I'm not good enough? You have to know that you are enough, and you have to know that you deserve to be at the table, and you deserve to have the same rights to the same funding and all of these things as anyone else. So I think we have to speak up, ask questions. If you're not sure, one of the things I keep telling people, so with RTC, I'm on their steering committee, and we help evaluate, grants. And one of the things I try to promote to folks is, don't assume that you don't qualify. Go to someone who has the information, ask the question, and let us tell you if you qualify. Right? Speak up.
So for people that are like trying to get in and they just don't know where their entry point is, what do you say to them, especially like whether they are youth or in their 20s or even older, or even retirees that want to get into the space? What would you say to them?
I say something that I was told by Commissioner Tom Peterson. Go to the website. There's so much information. I'm not kidding. There's so much information. Department of Agriculture, that much. Go Google, what is the Department of Agriculture's website? Google MDA, go in, put your information in there. Go through and don't stop at one page. There's many pages. And when I'm telling you, there's going to be something on there for you to explore, and you're going to learn something just by doing a Google search of what you're interested in. And I said, to anyone, if you're interested in sewing, right? What's the first thing you're going to do? You're going to Google that type of thing and find out, right? Where do you buy yarn? What's the best yarn? Do the same thing for your health, for your food, for growing your food. How do I get involved in urban gardening, urban farming? How do I become an urban gardener? How do I become an urban farmer? How do I find urban land, farming land? All of those things are at your reach if you research them. And start from there. I always say that, you have to help yourself. You have to help other people help you, right? So start with doing your research, get all your ducks in a row, and then start making those phone calls or sending out those emails, and then start looking for events around me involved in urban agriculture and show up.
Absolutely. So what would you say is one of your big takeaways that you want people to take, if anything, from this interview?
One of the big takeaways that I really want everyone, and this is not singular, this is everyone, this is inclusive. I want you to know, if you are seriously interested in urban agriculture, it's out there. The information is out there. I want you to start being really proactive about getting involved and do exactly what I said. Start with your research, and don't be afraid to email. They have their email there for a reason. They want you to contact them. Email someone working in and around urban agriculture and get involved the best way you can. Even if you may start with just tabling at events, right? You may start with just being a shadow, an intern. All of those things are helpful, but you have to start somewhere.
Absolutely. Do you have any final thoughts or stories you'd like to share with us?
My final thoughts is, it's not a thought. We really want folks to join us at University of Minnesota on April the 4th, where we will be hosting our 3rd annual Green Summit with students from Institute on the Environment. We want you to join us. reach out to us. Go on the University of Minnesota website and look up Institute on the Environment. All the information is there, and join us. Come and be a part of this. It's a great summit. We will have ag there. We will have local communities there. We will have local organizations, and we want you to come and be a part of that.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.